Cosmic Skeptic is no longer vegan, as he details in this post on his YouTube channel. You may remember I responded to maybe his first video on veganism. Overall, I was a really big fan of it. Anyway, he says he's going to upload a video in the future going into more detail, but there are a couple things here that I would like to touch on. So he says for quite some time he's been reevaluating his ethical position on eating animals. What people don't know is that he has been struggling privately to maintain a healthy plant-based diet. So I don't know if he's had health problems or just it's really hard to be vegan for him, you know, and he really maybe craves animal products. I don't know. Again, I'm sure he'll go into more detail. He says he's been eating animal products primarily, but not exclusively seafood. I'm interested in philosophy and never enjoy sharing personal information about myself, but I can obviously see why this particular update is both necessary and relevant. It's not my intention to go into too much detail here, as I think that will require more space and perhaps a video, but rather to let you know with more details to follow later. So this is going to be a common thread throughout the post, which I really appreciate that he acknowledges that because he's talked about veganism, which entails what you eat, your diet, which is kind of personal, I guess, that he kind of owes his viewers, not owes them, but you know what I mean. It would be weird to not tell his viewers that he is not eating a vegan diet, that he is eating some animal products. And I think this is such a huge difference from the vegan YouTubers, right? Cosmic Skeptic talks about a lot of different things. He's a skeptic channel. He talks about atheism and Jordan Peterson and all sorts of different stuff. Most of his channel is not vegan related. And yet you have these vegan YouTubers, right? Lifestyle influencers, whatever you want to call them. When they stop being vegan, they seem to be appalled that people want to know that. Not all of them, of course, but sometimes they act as though they're doing their viewers a favor by letting them know. And yet the whole point of their channel was veganism. The whole point was lifestyle and what they're eating, doing what I ate today, is helping people eat better and be more compassionate through their food choices. So it's just really interesting to see those channels act as though oh, you're welcome. I'll tell you about my experience no longer being vegan. And then you have this channel. I understand why you would want to know this, and I'm letting you know. I appreciate it. He says his opposition to factory farming remains unchanged, as do his views regarding the need to view non-human animals as morally worthy beings, but he's no longer convinced of the appropriateness of an individual-focused boycott in responding to these problems, and am increasingly doubtful of the practicability of maintaining a healthy plant-based diet in the long term. So I won't comment on the second one because, again, I'm not sure what he's talking about. Maybe he thinks a vegan diet is not healthy, or he just thinks it's really hard to eat a healthy vegan diet. But the first part, I am no longer convinced of the appropriateness of an individual-focused boycott. This has become very popular among the more left-leaning people. I would imagine most vegans are left-leaning, but when I was on Twitter, I saw quite a bit of kind of sneering at going vegan and promoting animal rights on a personal level, and that really we shouldn't worry about that. We should just focus on the institutional level and pushing veganism that way because our individual actions just don't matter very much. And while of course I am very pro voting for animal welfare laws and anything else that comes into play that we are able to vote on hopefully in the future, number one, there's not much you can do legally to advance that right now. I mean, both parties are pretty pro-animal agriculture, Cory Booker aside. Just voting Democrat does not at all mean that you are voting pro-animals. And there are very few things on the ballot in any state that really impact animal welfare. To be clear, there are much better arguments for an institutional approach than the ones from fake progressives on Twitter who just don't want to give up meat. Something like this from an EA perspective that includes businesses and investments in vegan alternatives as part of the institutional approach. It's a really compelling argument, particularly for NGOs, for charities, instead of go vegan, end factory farming, that sort of thing. And I'm guessing this is the sort of thing Cosmic Skeptic is convinced by, not the fake progressives on Twitter. But also, our individual efforts do matter. I think I gave the example of buying bacon in the grocery store. There's always a probability that you choosing not to buy that bacon is the tipping point for the grocery manager to say, hey, we are getting less sales on bacon. Let's buy one less box of bacon this month. That probability is always there for every single consumer. And we can't know if that's going to be me, if that's going to be you, which is why every single person going vegan is important and does matter. I think I gave an example of a mob, a group of people kicking someone to death. Well, there's probably going to be that last kick that tips the scales from the person being really injured but surviving and dying? Do we blame that one person, even if we knew who that one person was? No, of course not. You blame everyone involved. It's the same here. Everyone involved in buying less animal products gets the credit, is important. I think a lot of vegans do maybe see their influence as more than what it is, which I suspect you kind of have to do. I didn't mean to talk about this, but I speculate part of the reason so many people give up veganism is that you learn more nuance. Maybe because of my channel. Because veganism, the battery's dying. Oh, I think the framing's different now. Because veganism is so involved, right? You're making choices multiple times a day, especially if you live with people who aren't vegan. If there's non-vegan food in the house, you might be seriously making a choice, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, to not eat animal products. Because of that, I think for a lot of people, to maintain that, you have to believe that vegan is the only way, that vegan is the best diet, that it's the most moral way to eat. The most moral by far, right? Vegetarians are shit. They're just as bad as meat eaters. I think without those hardcore beliefs, it's really hard for people to maintain it for long. It's probably pretty hard to stick with a big lifestyle change like that if you accept that you don't have to be vegan to be healthy. Eating a vegan diet just for health is like kind of pretty stupid. That eating mostly vegan has close to the same impact as eating totally vegan, that your own personal choices do have a small impact. They're important, but they're small. Point is, I think probably a lot of vegans are overly optimistic, overly enthusiastic about their own impact. Not saying this is what's going on with Cosmic Skeptic, that he's more nuanced now. It seems like he's always been very nuanced. He continues that even if he's off base and he's totally mistaken in his new viewpoints, he doesn't wish to see people consuming a diet on his account if he has not been able to keep up the diet himself. Which, again, I'm sure people appreciate. I mean, I'm sure he's lost a lot of subscribers. I'm sure some of his subscribers subscribe because he started promoting veganism. But yeah, this is why I don't promote vegan as easy. As much as my heart says it is, as angry as I can get personally about people not eating vegan when it's just so fucking easy now. It's just so easy that is how I feel in my heart. It is really hard for me to even say vegan is not easy. But that's part of this. You have to step outside of yourself and you have to assume that people are different than you, that people have different lifestyles, that people have different taste preferences, that people have different, amounts of willpower or how much dopamine their body puts out in response to stimuli like food. Although I am incredibly driven by food and I'm still able to be vegan. Point is, I appreciate him saying that and being honest. And it's a good reminder to me because, again, in my heart, why can't everyone be vegan? Jesus Christ, just be vegan. I'm truly sorry for having so rigorously and at times perhaps too unforgivingly advocated for a behavior change that I myself have not been able to maintain. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I don't want to do. Maybe sometimes I go to the other side where I am too harsh on vegan. I don't know, portray it as potentially harder than it is, but I'm trying to adjust for my own personal feelings, which are wrong and bad. He says he's admitted when he's been wrong in the past and when he's changed his mind on things, but this was the hardest thing to talk about. He wanted to wait until he was sure that he couldn't make it practically work. Whatever the case, please know that this experience has inspired a deep self-reflection and that I will be duly careful in future regarding the forthrightness of my convictions. I am especially sorry to those who are now vegan activists on account of my content and hope that they know I will still effort with you to bring about the end of factory farming. To them and to everyone else, I appreciate your viewership and engagement always, as well as your feedback and criticism. So again, just a striking difference from some of the other I'm no longer vegan accounts I have seen, and really appreciating that people will be upset, understanding the need to tell people, right? Because he has been promoting and saying, go vegan, I guess. I learned about this from a comment on my video talking about, again, Cosmic Skeptic's vegan video, as if it negates the content in the video. That's always so strange to me. I mean, it's one thing if you're saying vegan is healthy because look how healthy I am, and then you end up not being healthy on the diet, right? That's different. Or carnivore, whatever diet you're talking about. Ethical arguments are right or wrong on their own merits, right? It doesn't matter if the person making them is a carnivore, is the liver king. People are shocked he was lying. People are shocked the man was on steroids. What? So I will watch his video when he puts it out, going into more detail, and if there's something I want to talk about, I'm sure I will make a video. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love it if you would subscribe. It helps me out and helps me make more content like this and the videos that take a lot more work than this. And of course, I really appreciate all of my patrons at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. 264 of you at the time of this recording. I do post 2 exclusive videos there a month for $5 plus patrons. The first is like a more vloggy type thing. The second one is a controversial topic for the month, something unrelated to veganism. I've received a lot of new patrons over the last couple of weeks since I announced that, so I guess a lot of you are interested. So yeah, yay! I made a good choice. Effort with you? Can you use effort as a verb? To effort. The Veteran Affairs Director was efforting to reduce. I had no idea.